What's happening, so fam? It's Tarot Tuesday. You already know what time it is. So this tarot is going to be super special because there's so much going on in the cosmos right now. We're going to start off by talking about July 5th. On July 5th, 2022, we had CERN turn on their Hadron Collider, which the Hadron Collider is this huge machine that smashes particles together at really high speeds. Now, you might have seen like a little bit of ruckus about this on social media prior to the event. And the reason the reason behind all the ruckus and the concern is the fact that many people who do high conscious energy work have remembered shifting timelines the last time CERN turned on their Hadron Collider. Okay. And this is a very, very common thing that people are experiencing. That the last time they turned this thing on, we started experiencing Mandela effects. Like people remember different brands differently. People also have a hard time kind of even remembering how to pronounce specific things, the intros to movies, specific locations, even of particular massive structures like the Statue of Liberty. There's these little inconsistencies that are found all across the world when it comes to the Mandela effect because CERN turned on their machine last time. So there's a lot that goes into that. You can dive into that a little bit later, but just know that every time they turn on the machine, we shift reality or we mess with the general order of reality, even though it seems controlled in a scientific sense. Okay. That's the first major event that went through. And that's what this tarot spread is going to be talking about primarily. What happened on July 5th when we shifted timelines? Now, the other massive event that just happened is last night there was a full moon. So we're coming to an ending of things, okay? Yesterday on July 11th was America's Pluto return, which when we have a Pluto return, there's a lot of destructive energy that happens. There's a reformation of how things need to be versus how they've been. So there's going to be a lot of like turmoil that comes up because America has officially stepped into its Pluto return. And during Pluto returns, societies tend to collapse or go through major, major difficulties just because of the fact that maybe the people in power are not in alignment with the people's needs and vice versa. Okay. So three massive events that have happened in the course of about a week. Okay. It still hasn't even been a full week since July 5th. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting read. So, we're going to start off here on the top uh, left corner with the card Amaterasu. Okay. And Amaterasu reminds us of showing up and sharing our highest level of splendor. Okay. It's also the Empress card in tarot. So, Empress is tied to the energies of Neptune. The energies of Venus. Venus is the energy that's controlling this entire year. Okay. So one of the things that we really need to be paying attention to with this card is that fact that, okay, we're stepping into a higher sense of self, a higher sense of awareness. We have to be shining our truth. We need to be doing that in love. We can't let anyone get in our way as well as stop us from being who we truly feel like we need to be. Now, the Amaterasu card is also tied to very specific magic, which is tied to the magic of Dalet, which Dalet means the door or the weakness in space and time. Okay. So this is a very powerful starting off card because not only are we being told to really step into our power and go after what we truly feel is our reality, but when Dalet also comes up is saying like there's a weakness in space and time itself. And this is your doorway. This is your opportunity to literally catapult yourself into the highest reality that you want to be in. Now, when we look at Amaterasu as well, Amaterasu has the image of the Antakarana, which the Antakarana is going through four major states of consciousness. One of them being the waking state, your ego, your dreaming state, your intellect, your deep sleep state, which is your mind, and your time state, which is your memory. So we're traveling between ego, intellect, mind, and memory right now, where there's a huge break in time and space that we can use as a doorway so that we can overcome a lot of our weaknesses as long as we are in alignment with love in our ego, intellect, mind, and memory. Let's say that one more time. Amaterasu tells you to shine your power to create the reality that you really want to embody through love, because right now there is a door in time and space that is open and it's weak, and it's allowing you to overcome your own weaknesses, but also allowing you to create the ultimate reality you want to be existing in. Amaritarasu's energy is a lot to do with the sacral chakra, and the sacral chakra has a lot to do with emotions and accepting things. Okay, so you might have been getting a lot of downloads recently if you're on the good side of the Amaterasu card, which is you're having these epiphanies, right? One epiphany that I had last night in deep meditation associated to this card was the fact that, like, sometimes we try to become something, become. And the more you try to become something, the more distance and space is almost consistently there, because you're not it, you're becoming it. So there's like literally distance and space between you and the objective. So then how do you overcome this? You overcome this by actually saying to yourself, all right, well, I am that person. Like, I'm just going to live my life as that person and let everything else just come as a byproduct of that, right? And then life becomes easier. So here it's like she's even telling us, like, when you just are, you're bypassing time and space. You don't have to become. Stop trying to become and just be, and see the proof through your actions, right? That's what the vibration here with this first opening card, the cosmos itself, is telling you to follow this major message going through. Okay, the next card that comes right directly next to it is Heka, which Heka is the Egyptian kind of concept of Antojai. Heka is this energy that flows through everything. It is everywhere. When you take a deep breath, you're taking in the breath of life. When you are actually out and about experiencing life, you are in the vibration of life. When you are in a state of really understanding how the laws of your universe come together, you finally come into this understanding of the laws of life. And you can start hearing how, like, I'm putting quantum Reiki and even Antohai in here as you conceptualize what Heka means. Heka is the magic behind all of reality. Now, as we're going through this major shift of really embodying ourselves and using this space-time door to our advantage, we need to have strength, because we have the Eye of Ra that shows up right here, and we can also see the Eye of Ra in the next card over. But the Eye of Ra is essentially an eye of destruction. It's also associated to not only the sun, but black holes. So the pupil of the Eye of Ra is a black hole, and the actual Eye of Ra is like the sun or a universe encompassed. Okay, so what it's trying to tell us with the Eye of Ra is that we need to stay focused on the thing that we want most. You have to stay extremely focused and dismantle anything that is trying to take you away from experiencing the highest levels of resonance with that objective, like Amaterasu tells us to do. Okay, so let everything else destroy itself if it's not your focus. If you really want to become super, skinny by the end of the year, you stay focused on that objective and you let everything else fade away. You let the addictions, you let whatever else is there just completely fade away. As we step deeper into this energy, we're getting closer to August, which is associated to Leo. Leo is also about spending time with friends and family. Also, is connected to that energy of being confident, being strengthful, having the ability to move forward towards the directions that you want. And then we come through with the energy of Heka, which Heka then has another key that basically represents the character Tet, which Tet means to sweep out by judgment. And it's also about the humility and the goodness in our our hearts when it comes to treating each other in terms of mankind. Now, this is a really powerful key. This is a very powerful message in general because it's saying we need strength not only to let go of the things that don't serve us anymore, but to also spend time with friends and family and encourage them to be better people while you are becoming a better person. As we move over to the third card over, we see the energy of influence and dominion and a lot of grief. The Two of Wands. The Two of Wands is indicative of having to make a choice, having to balance something out, having to come to terms with something, even though it may not be easy, right? You're basically trying to balance two worlds and figure out which one is the best choice to go forward with. We see again the image of the eye raw on this card, which is basically telling us there is a stronghold right now in reality that needs to be destroyed. And it has to do with influence and dominion, basically stating that like the powers that are controlling this entire universe right now are being put on the spotlight to be held accountable for not taking care of the people. And this is why the first line is really indicating to shine your light, to love, to focus on what you really need to focus on. Even though the world is going to be going through some sort of grief, stay focused on the people you care about. This is an opportunity for you to really change your reality and change even the element of grief that you may be holding on to. If we move from Amaterasu downward, the second card that comes right here is the card Rhythm, which is associated to Atmos. Whatever happens on one side of reality has to happen on the other side of reality, and all atoms in reality will react by that movement. So rhythm is basically stating that there's a flow, right? We go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth through this cycle and this flow that then creates our reality and allows us to shape the atoms in our reality into manifestations. Okay, so because this doorway has been opened, and because of the fact that there's a weakness from CERN opening up the doorways of atomic studies and stuff like that, this card right here is representative of quite literally the CERN project. So as this doorway is open and it's blank and we can see it, there's nothing there, you have the opportunity to use that doorway to change the vibrations of light. Lucifer comes up, and Lucifer is not what you think it is. Lucifer is the fractalization of light. So if you think about a holographic reality, our holographic reality is essentially fractalized. It keeps breaking apart, splitting itself, so you can see more and more and more of illusions instead of coming back to singularity, to oneness, to the all, to God, whatever you consider the ultimate one mind. Okay, so Ameritras is telling us as long as we stay focused on the things that we really love through this gateway, the only thing that's going to happen is that reality is going to fractalize itself to give you the illusion that you're looking for. Okay, so Lucifer is actually a really good vibration because it's associated to like essentially getting your desires. Now, the main thing you need to be paying attention to when you're doing this work is malice. You do not want to give in to any form of malice that you have right now. That doesn't mean you can't practice black magic or anything like that. It just means that you don't want to be doing things from a negative space. You want to be self-controlled when it comes to using those types of magic. The Knight of Wands reminds you not to be super, super impatient or try to pull the gun when it comes to taking care of a project. Okay, like calculate, take time, really assess the situation right now during this time so you can better hone in on that principal card, which is the Amaterasu Venus card, right? Because we want to stay in alignment with Venus. No matter what happens this year, you want to stay aligned with the love of your reality, the love of your life, like the things that you really want to stay focused on and you want to manifest in front of you. That's the only thing that really matters. Like that can be the love of work, the love of travel, the love of self-expression, the love of being free with yourself, like those are different things that you need to really like work with and you need to see. It's a different journey for each person, but the main message all year long is to love yourself. Okay, So as we see, all right, Amaterasu going horizontally tells us to have strength. There's a lot of magic coming through. People are going to be going through some level of grief because of the powers that have been at the control of the world not really being of service, right? We have a doorway that's going to change the illusion. Particularly, it's going to also be shining a lot of light on malice. Let's read the centerpiece. So as this doorway opens, the energy of Ra comes in. So here we have a third reference to Ra, okay? Because we have the Eye of Ra in Heka, we have the Eye of Ra in the Two of Wands. Now we also have the Eye of Ra in the King of Wands. The King of Wands is someone that stops to look at what's happening. He takes the information that is there and then he makes a calculated decision because his thing is to win. He does not lose. That is the energy of the King of Wands. So if that means he has to take a quick second to, breathe, to do some yoga, to, take a class, to reassess, to whatever, journal, be real with himself, he will do that so he makes sure he wins every battle, every game that he is in. That's the energy of the King of Wands. Now, Ra, being the Egyptian god of the sun and the prime deity of all the other gods in the Egyptian pantheon, that's kind of like is suitable, right? Like this energy of the sun of victory. Ra is associated a lot to the light, to justice, to victory, and it's not like a swaying justice. It's like the most obvious justice. He'll come through to destroy you if you have primarily and obviously chosen to be of a negative vibration. That's the energy here of Ra. Ra is also the energy of creation because the sun gives us the ability to grow. So here you have the ability with this door being open to create victory coming over to the third card over in your reality. So Ameritaros is basically telling you, use the rhythm of the cosmos right now to change the material universe to basically get what you want. Just don't be hateful or full of malice, right? So then Ra is basically telling us this doorway being open gives you the ability to literally create your victory as long as you are not giving in to the temptation of greed. Greed is the root seed in the third eye chakra. Sorry, I blanked out for a second. In the third eye chakra. Malice is the main seed that controls the 12th chakra. And grief is the main seed that controls the second chakra. So, really, here, even in the alchemy that it's talking about, is really trying to remind you stay focused on your sacral, third eye, and even 12th chakra. That means you need to be really considering drinking lots of water, flowing any emotions that might be stagnant out of your system. Now, the energy associated to the Six of Wands is not only victory, but power and dominion. Here we have a second reference to dominion coming through because the was is associated to not only the third eye, but also over mastery of something. So we're starting to see, okay, the main powers right now that are really affecting everyone as a whole is the grief, the greed, and the malice. Okay. And people really want creation and rebirth out of this, right? They want to create rebirth in some way, shape, or form. We see the greed with how basically like the country's being run in America, particularly. We see the grief that people are going through as like gas prices skyrocket, and we can also see the malice that like the people at the top, they don't really care. They just do whatever they do, and whatever, everyone else will figure it out at some point, right? It's a very like it's almost like malice in general. They don't care about anyone. They've lost connection with the people. So as we're looking at this, that's why we're being told we need to have strength as we create our own victory. We need to create our own victory. That's the highest vibration that we can really be embodying. And that takes a little bit of invincibility. And that's where this card Adamans comes in. Adamans is a twin brother of Antojai, essentially. Antojai is all about love and light and like bending reality and infinity and stuff like that, where Adamans is all about self-service. So like Antohai is about service to others, where Adamans is service to self. And Adamans, when it comes with the Ten of Voids, is essentially reminding you that like the invincibility that you seek in your reality for your creations lie in the thought itself, right? So like if you think about, I'm going to create a business and my business has a lot of competition because there's other people doing what I'm doing, then that is automatically a non and like you're it's not invincible, right? Because you're automatically creating a thought that's saying there's a problem with me creating this thought. That's not going to be healthy. If you go into your business and you're like, I'm going to crush this, I have no competition, this is going to be amazing for me, right? It's going to be super fruitful, then you're going to have a different experience. That's an invincible thought because you're going into it without calculating or giving room to the manifestation of chaos or negativity, okay? So you need to have strength while you create and make sure that you're being extremely clear on what you're creating and that it's invincible. Remember, Amaterasu tells you to be strong in your creations while you focus on spending time with your friends and family, making sure that the dominion releases grief, but also is based off of love. Okay. So they're talking to you in many different ways here through the cards. Now, Lucifer and Adamant's coming together basically tells you have a very specific indestructibility towards malice. During this time, people might send you the evil eye. People might be rude. People might be whatever. But one of the things that you really need to stay on top of is not giving into it. Like self control is like beautiful, it's sexy. You don't have to give your energy anywhere to anyone at any moment because you're only manifesting that. Okay. And I'll give you a great example. Yesterday, I had somebody send me a text message, some random person that wanted to hire me for some demonology work. And, I was kind and I basically said, I'm not available for this particular job. And they got really mad, sent me like this super huge, nasty text message because I said I'm not available for this. And I my first idea was to like respond back and be very logical and like explain myself. And then all of a sudden I just stopped. I was in mid text and I stopped and I realized, you know what, this isn't really important. It's like whatever. Like let the person believe whatever they want to believe. It's okay. It's neither here or there. Like I'm probably the devil in their reality now. I don't really care, right? And having that level of awareness. Now, the final card that comes in is Sekhmet, okay? Sekhmet is associated again to the Eye of Ra. In certain alchemy, it is basically said that the Eye of Ra is the incarnation of Sekhmet when it's not in Ra's head, okay? She is the Queen of Wands, which is basically saying she's going to get everything she wants no matter what happens. Like, even if it means that there's war or some turmoil or something, she's going to get what she wants and she's going to sit in that luxury rebirth like a boss queen. Okay, this is all about the 13th chakra, manipulating light, manipulating vibrations of reality. Now this is a powerful, powerful, powerful reading because it walks us into the energy of the sun, positivity, Atum Ra. Atum or Atom, Atomos, okay, Atomos, sorry. These two cards are very much so in association with each other. Our spirit right now has the ability to retransform itself from whatever state it is. Now we have the energy of the black hole, we have the energy of ascended space, and then we also have the energy of Reish, which is basically the head or the crown of something. Now, Reish is the supreme one, which can sometimes be interpreted as poverty as well. Now, when race shows up, this is a very powerful message. It means like there's a transfer of wealth. We're seeing that with Bitcoin, and we're seeing that with stocks, and we're seeing that with the general economy. We have officially stepped into a dimension called the black sun in alchemy, and we're going to be here until about November, which is going to be a very intense energy. Now, the black sun is associated to positivity and negativity, understanding that Jesus and the devil are essentially in the same place at all times, doesn't matter what thought you have, and that you are basically someone's Jesus and simultaneously someone else's devil at any given moment. Now, that's a hard pill to swallow, coming back to that story that I shared with you yesterday about that person, right, sending me that nasty text message. That's why I share that story, because being in the black sun, we're going to see that. We're going to even be tested with our own beliefs. Like, is this who I really am? Am I being honest to myself on this is how I want to live my life? And even confront the inner darkness within yourself so that you can come out on top, right? Part of it's going to be an external battle, and part of it's going to be an internal battle. But this is the massive reading that's coming up here right now. Focus on the things that you love, because this gateway is going to manipulate reality to give you your desires. Do not give in to malice. Have the strength to really stay focused on your friends and family. Let go of the grief. Let go of anything that is trying to have some sort of dominion or influence on you that's not letting you be who you want to be. Focus on the fact that you are creating your reality and you're rebirthing yourself, okay? You will get what you want if you allow yourself to stay focused on the win. This doorway is particularly so you can stay focused on the win so you can win, okay? So that sounds like that line right there is really clear. Don't be greedy, okay? Take your wins and just be happy with them, okay? Remember that reality right now is fractalizing a lot. So a lot of light magic is being used, not in the most positive way. So you need to know who you are and have an internal sense of knowing and stay indestructible with that knowledge. So you can essentially rebirth yourself into the most comfortable position. Happiness is guaranteed if you allow yourself to really embody the final layers of who you truly are. That's simultaneously being negative and simultaneously being positive. If you liked this reading, which is going to go deeper into some alchemy that I'm going to be teaching you now that we're in to the Black Sun, check out the alchemy on Patreon. Links are going to be in the description below. I'm sending you all the love, and I will catch you in the next